Welcome to the Environment Service Committee. Cobden Wastewater Treatment Plant Upgrade Status Report, JP2G Consultant. Can you talk on that, Rob?
Sure. The recommendation that Environmental Services Committee recommend Council of the Township of Whitewater Region approve the status report prepared by JP2G Consultants, Inc. for the Cobden Wastewater Treatment Plant upgrades. Mr. Chair, if I want to get a mover and seconder.
We get a mover and seconder on that. Mayor Johnson and Kathy Rager. Janet, please.
We recently had a meeting with JP2G and they have provided us a status report. At this point, they're generally prepared to go out for tender for a design build, with the exception we have to have approval for our ESR, Environmental Study Report, and because of the Part 2 order, we're working through that. We have been the consultant back and forth with the MOECC. Vivian Yan is our contact there. I have tried to contact her and we'll continue to try and reach her in the next few days. I had a meeting with Steve Hodson and JP as well yesterday to go over some directions. So we anticipate in the next couple of weeks we'll have another meeting with the MLA regarding their Part 2 order, as well as some conversations with MOECC. So
I guess we'll be getting a new environment minister too. I guess that would change things.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions? All in favor? Oh wait, sorry, didn't see it. You gotta put your hand up.
So I probably wasn't listening close enough. There has been a move on the Part 2?
There has only been correspondence back and forth between Vivian Yan and Kevin Mutter with JP2G. She's asked a few questions and the clarifications have been sent back. So like as noted, I will try and make those personal contacts with them this week and try and push them along to see if there's anything further. As well, I want to ensure that the MLA did receive the proponent's explanation, being our explanation, to the Part 2 order. So I'll be following up on that as well.
Okay, so the ministry has started to talk again after 3 months, and so that's good news.
It is good news.
Thank you.
All in favor? Carried. Okay, next item is the MOECC Beachburg Drinking Water System Inspection. You want to add to that, Rob?
That Environmental Services Committee recommend Council of the Township of Whitewater Region receive the MOECC Beachburg Drinking Water System Inspection 2017-2018 for information purposes. If you'd like to get a mover and seconder.
I get a mover and seconder on that. Darryl McLaughlin and Reeve Miller. Janet, can you speak on that too?
We annually receive generally annually, receive an inspection report on each of our facilities, being the water treatment plants as well as the wastewater plant. This is the Beachburg one. Generally, things were in very good order. There was a couple of minor items that I have highlighted for you. My report did not print for some reason.
But it's a good.
So the two items where the only actions required is we were a month or so behind one of our annual testings for the raw water system, which will be corrected. Following this, I'll ensure I also follow up with a letter to Aqua. Not a major concern. The other item, although we have not been recommended, I do suggest we will commence work on combining our documentation. So over time we've added bits and pieces to our water system, and although we have drawings, we haven't got a comprehensive set. So we will be looking at ensuring our manuals are up to date fully and a little more comprehensive. They look the same, they're easy to detail and read. So it was quite well done.
Any questions? Seeing none, have a vote on that, please. All in favor? Carried. Okay. Next thing is the Aqua Service Agreement. Aqua Service Agreement recommends Environmental Service Committee recommends Council of Township Whitewater Region approve extended the initial terms of November 12th, 2013 to November 11th, 2018 for 2-year term being renewed term per service agreement between Ontario Clean Water Agency and the Township of Whitewater Region. I got a mover and seconder, Mayor Johnson and Darrell McLaughlin. Okay.
Okay, in reviewing our report, if we wish to terminate or directly renew, we must provide 12 months minimum before the end of the termination. So the termination of this first, or our initial agreement with them, is November 11th, 2018. So by this October, we would have to inform whether we wish to terminate or renew. However, there's an additional clause in there where we can renew for up to 2 years. Staff are recommending that we do renew for up to 2 years for a couple of reasons. First of all, we want to try and bring together all of our asset management, which will include water and wastewater, and incorporate that into a 10-year capital plan. Aqua does provide us with annual capital works, and in this case, we are going to hopefully work together with them and/or with a consultant to try and get a number of years out, at least 10 years out. So that will allow us to accomplish that sort of in year one. The second item that we need to look at is, and I'm going to use Watson and Associates. It's not that we have to use them, but they did do our last work. And they did a financial plan incorporating all the water and sewer rates for the municipality as a whole, as we have 3 separate water systems. This was completed in 2012 for a 5-year term. So that has completed now. This past year, 2017, actually, we had some of our staff internally put some numbers together, and we're going to recommend that be done again. The key to it is we have not necessarily included capital works moving forward, so we really need to capture those capital works for an extended time frame, such as 10 years, and incorporate that into the water, sewer and water rate plan. So by going through the 2 years that we're allowed with Aqua will allow us sufficient time to complete these projects, and by the end of the term, we should have a very good direction on where we're going. As well, it should help us with dollar-for-dollar negotiations if we continue with Aqua at that time. There is a couple of different programs they have, and sorry I missed the term that we're into at the moment, but basically they've given us a price frame that allows them, because they don't know our system well, that was the initial system, and we can incorporate various works as it comes in. Once we have a stronger sense of what we're doing and where we need to go, we should be able to negotiate for their other methodology of financing. So that would be staff's reasoning for it. Again, it's something I wanted to bring now to give council the concept and the mindset for it, because by October we will have to have a decision at the latest moving forward.
Okay, any question from Rob?
Just to add to that, just to note that individual members of council, when it comes to the Safe Drinking Water Act, have individual personal liability in terms of the drinking water system, and I think it's an area that through the Walkerton crisis, the regulatory framework has really caught up, and as Janet said, what we're recommending is just this renewal term for 2 years, which will allow us to do a little extra homework before the end of the renewal term. We can also renew for an additional 2 years after that term, or go back and have further negotiations in terms of the other ways of being billed by Aqua, or looking or doing the analysis on whether or not it's beneficial to bring this service in-house. I would say at this point in time it is not, and that we need to do some work both to ensure that our fees and our rates incorporate capital works that will be required. We have aging infrastructure, but as Janet said, also having a good understanding of the plants, the components, the things that we need to be doing over the next 10 years. So that's why we're coming to you now to seek approval to renew for 2 years.
Any questions? Councillor McLaughlin?
Yeah, I don't see any problem with this. I just wonder about you're going to hire Watson and Associates. Is that correct, Janet? Is that?
No, not necessarily. It's this is to do the renewals. So that's all this deals with. However, the plan would be for staff to bring something back. First of all, looking at a 10-year capital, and then potentially as part 2 to that would be hiring Watson's and/or another firm, and that
or.
would come back to council, and that would review all of the water and wastewater rates, including the capital.
I guess what I missed was the and or. So, no, I have no problems,
All in favor? Pass. That concludes our environmental service. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to bylaws. 8.1. Robert, to read that.
Be resolved, the bylaw 1708-983 being a bylaw to authorize the corporation of the Township of Whitewater Region to award the Recreation Master Plan to Milestone Strategy in collaboration with TCI Management Consultants for $59,209.10, including HST, and authorize the mayor and CEO clerk to enter into the necessary agreement, be taken as read and passed.
Can I get a mover? Moved by Dave McKay and seconded by Councillor Regier. All those in favor? Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor? Carried. Carried. 8.2, procedural bylaw amendment. And again, Robert.
Be it resolved, the bylaw 1708-984 being a bylaw to amend the procedural bylaw governing the proceedings of the Council of Township of Whitewater Region be taken as read and passed.
Can I get a mover? Moved by Councillor McLaughlin, seconded by Councillor McKay. Any questions? Councillor McLaughlin.
Are we going to now have to change our signing authority as well?
Yes, there's a bylaw further down
Okay. I
to
jumped
make
the
that
gun?
switch. No,
Okay.
it's a good question to ask. We originally had not had it on here, but in terms of transition, we need to make that change tonight as well.
Any other questions? All those in favor? Carried. That's the one. I'll be up to you. 8.3, council appointments. Oh, yeah.
Be it resolved, the bylaw 1708-985 being a bylaw to appoint council members to standing committees, advisory committees, teams, boards, and commissions for 2017-2018 be taken as read and passed.
Can I get a mover? Moved by Councillor McKay, seconded by Councillor Regier. I wouldn't mind if we could read them out. We're going to read them out.
So just to note, this is as a result of lining up the standing committees to the new operational departments so that they line up. I'll just scroll back up to standing committees. So for building and property, so generally what the mayor has suggested is the former chairs, where there were changes, would stay on as co-chairs. So building and property services, Chair Terry Miller, co-chair Dave McKay. Community services, Chris Olmsted is the chair. The co-chair is Terry Miller, and that no changes there. Corporate services, the new chair would be Kathy Regier, and the co-chair would be the former chair, Charlene Jackson. Economic Development and Tourism, the chair would be Dave McKay, and the former chair, Terry Miller, would be the co-chair. Fire and Emergency Services, the chair would be Charlene Jackson, and the co-chair would be Daryl McLaughlin, who is the former chair. And the new Physical Services, the chair, which would include Roads and Environmental Services, the new chair would be Councillor Daryl McLaughlin, and the co-chair would be Councillor Kathy Regier. In terms of the new committees that have recently been established, the Economic Development Advisory Committee, the two council members would be Mayor Johnson and Councillor Olmsted, and the Recreation Advisory Committee would be Councillor Olmsted and Mayor Johnson. Arena's transition team would be Councillor Olmsted and Councillor Regier as the chairs of Community Services and Corporate Services. The Cobden Wastewater Treatment Plant upgrade team would remain the same. The Development Review Team, which is now informal in nature, the terms of reference speak to the chairs of Economic Development and Tourism, which is Councillor Mackay, and the chair of Building and Property, which is Reeve Miller, and one additional councillor, and that councillor was the previous chair of Development, which was Charlene Jackson, and the Street Shred Organizing Team would remain the same. The only change on boards and commissions would be Councillor Jackson taking on the Whitewater Public Library instead of Mayor Johnson. So I think I've captured the mayor's appointments.
All those in favor? Carried. Okay, Arenas and Transition Team.
Be it resolved that bylaw 1708-986, being a bylaw to establish through terms of reference the Arenas Transition Team and appoint its members, be taken as read and passed. And I can name the citizen members. So in addition to Councillors Olmsted and Regier and staff, so myself and my alternate would be Marcia. The Manager of Community Services, Jordan DeRoche, and the Supervisor of Arenas and Parks, Hugh Martin, and his alternate would be Debbie Reddy, who's joining the team. The four citizen members would be Heather Corrigan, who was formerly with the Cobden Rec Association, Neil Nicholson, who's the Vice Chair of the Westmeath and District Recreation Association, and Sheila Wishart, who's involved in Beachburg, as well as Brent Gould, who's from the Queen's Line. He reminded me he's from Queen's Line, but is the president of the Muskrat Minor Hockey Association.
Can I get a mover? Moved by Councillor McLaughlin, seconded by Councillor Regier. All those in favor? Carried. Carried. Appointment of officials.
Be it resolved that bylaw 1708-987, being a bylaw to appoint certain officials, be taken as read and passed. And just before you get a mover and seconder, this is really just making the change of replacing Councillor Jackson, who with Councillor Regier as the Chair of Corporate Services.
Signing authority. Can I get a mover? Moved by Dave Mackay, seconded by Councillor McLaughlin. All those in favor? Carried. And 8.6 tax rates.
Be it resolved that bylaw 1708-988, being a bylaw to provide for the adoption of 2017 tax rates, special area rate, street light, and to further provide for penalty and interest in default of payment, and to repeal bylaw 1707-979, be taken as read and passed. Before you have a mover and seconder, just to note that this might seem like deja vu, it kind of is. As we got the final tax rates from the county, there was a slight change in one of the schedules. So what we're just doing is updating the schedules and just repealing and replacing so that we have a clean version on our bylaw. It was a very minor change to the landfill tax rate, which we're the only ones who own landfills in our township, but just for consistency, we're just going to repeal and replace the bylaw.
Okay, can I get a mover? Moved by Councillor Mackay, seconded by Councillor McLaughlin. All those in favor? Carried. All right. Resolutions, number 991.
Council of the Township of Whitewater Region approve the municipal-driven and financial incentive programs as part of the Township Community Improvement Plan Phase 1, subject to the statutory public meeting and final approval of the plan.
Mover? Councillor Regier, seconded by Reeve Miller. Any questions? All those in favor? Carried. 9.2, Ontario Municipal Commuter Cycle Program.
The Council of the Township of Whitewater Region approved partnering with the County of Renfrew in making application for funding under the Ontario Municipal Commuter Cycling Program, OMCC, allocating grant funds to improvements on the Algonquin Trail, the CP Corridor, and Whitewater Region. Physical Services Department providing assistance to the County of Renfrew on the trail in the form of paid in-kind or through the loaning, renting of municipal equipment, such as brushing, brush head, grader, etc., as availability, time, and funds permit, and submitting an application declaration to be included as part of the application.
Can I get a mover? Moved by Dave McCoy, seconded by Councillor McLaughlin. All those in favour? 9.3, severance application B77/17 Fletcher.
The Council of the Township of Whitewater Region approves severance application B777/17 with the following comment: zoning bylaw amendment is required and a registered plan of survey is required.
Okay, mover. Moved by Councillor McLaughlin, second by Reeve Miller. All those in favour? Carried. 9.4, severance application B63/65/17 Tracy.
Just to note that a zoning bylaw is not required, a zoning bylaw amendment to reflect the change that you did earlier in standing committee. That Council of the Township of Whitewater Region supports severance applications B63 to B65/17 with the following comments: favorable comments from the Township regarding access, favorable comments from the Township regarding suitability to accommodate a future dwelling. The Township requires an agreement be registered on title that would make any new owners of the lot aware that there are potential noise impacts from the commercial use located at 810 Zion Line, and a registered plan of survey is required.
Can I get a mover? Moved by Councillor McCoy and seconded by Councillor Regier. All those in favour? Carried. That brings us to notice of motion. Do we have any notice of motion? Okay, skipping right along. Minutes. Regular council meeting, July 19, 2017. Recommendation that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region approve the regular council minutes of July 19, 2017. Can I get a mover? Moved by Councillor Regier, second by Councillor McCoy. Any questions? All those in favour? Carried. Special council, July 19th, July 24th, July 27th. Recommendation that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region approve the special council minutes of July 19, 24 and July 29, 2017. Can I get a mover? Moved by Councillor McKay, second by Councillor Regier. All those in favour? Carried. Closed meeting. Recommendation that the Council of the Township of Whitewater Region approve the closed session minutes of July 19 and 24, 2017, understanding that they will remain confident. Can I get a mover? Moved by Councillor McLaughlin. Oh, you want a question? Okay. Well, no, that's no problem. Can I get a mover? Moved by Councillor Regier, seconded by Councillor McKay. All those in favour? Carried. Correspondence. ORES report on solar projects. ORES report July 2017. Yes, Robert.
Just for item C, there's a request for in-kind support from the Renfrew County Plowmen's Association for the 2017 plowing match in Renfrew County, which is occurring in our township on September 16th. They're requesting a flag to fly it, a load of sand, and truck for garbage pickup. So if council wish to support that request, I would recommend the motion would be that Council of the Township of Whitewater Region approve the request for in-kind support from the Renfrew County Plowmen's Association for the 2017 Renfrew County Plowing Match occurring in Whitewater Region on September 16, 2017, including a township flag, load of sand, and truck for garbage pickup.
Can I get a mover? Moved by Dave McKay, seconded by Reeve Miller, and all those in favour? It's neat to have it in our township as often as they have it, and it brings people in. It's great. It's a great function. Okay. Any questions on 12.1 or 12.2? All right. We're going to number 14, confirming bylaw.
Be it resolved that bylaw 1708-989, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of August 2nd, 2017, be taken as read and passed.
Mover, Councillor Councillor Mackay, and second by Reeve Miller. All those in favor? If you just dare touch anything on those iPads, they just go off on their own. Goodness sakes, that does it to me all the time too. All right, this meeting's adjourned. I'll give the gentleman the chance to speak. He's with our fire department. Good, okay. You have to speak into that.
Understood. Okay, I've been a member of the Whitewater Region Fire Department for about 10 years now. I'm fully qualified training officer. I teach City Ottawa Fire Department all their rescue stuff. And but I haven't served this community for 34 years. And I believe there's been a mistake made with the resigning of Mike Moore. The man's been spent 34 years serving the community, 18 of those as in a leadership role, and it's significantly dangerous for all of us firefighters to not have him available at a scene. He knows your house, and probably not your house, your house. He knows everybody's houses, where everything is, where the hydrants are. It's a massive blow to the fire department to have him gone, and he can't be replaced. And I believe that this all came down to a mistake in the wording during his interview with our CEO, which could indeed be incorrect, but he does not want to resign. He never wanted to resign. He was given an option to either educate his replacement or become a firefighter. That is why he resigned. Now, if you know what, mistakes happen, but you know, for the guy's been leading us for 18 years. We're standing here because it's an issue, and the guy you can't just let that guy go. Like, there's guys that aren't getting paid anymore. It's not good for any of us, and to not have that man on the scene is dangerous for our community. So I've spoken with him directly. He's clearly stated that he wants to remain in the deputy chief position. The man lives in his office. I don't know if anybody has spent any time with the guy, but like, you want to find him, go to his office. It still smells like him. He spends his life in there. So I guess right now there's been a petition going around with all the firefighters. Now there's always going to be, you know, the odd people that don't want to sign a petition, either because they work for the county or whatever. But there's a growing number of people that are on there, and next week when the petition gets to Cobden and Haley Station, that petition's going to grow again. And I just believe that if you guys do not accept that man's resignation. He doesn't want to leave, and he's a huge asset to this community. To have him gone is a travesty. And I need you guys to know that. I need it to be heard. And if you guys find someone who spent 34 years of his life volunteering and keeping our community as protected as it has, he deserves some time spent on this. And mistakes are made about who said what or how it was framed or whatever. And it's, you know what, I'm not perfect. I have a laundry list of character flaws. But I know an asset when I see him. We all go to him. Yeah, okay, the fire departments all work in little areas, but we all go to Mike. Because when Mike says, this is what we're doing, that's what we do. So please consider reinstating him or not accepting his resignation, because it's a significant issue within the fire department. Thank you very much for letting me speak, and please, call him, talk to him, stop by, go see him. The man is just not, like, he's dedicated his life to this community, and he deserves more time. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you for coming forward, Councillor McLaughlin.
All I was going to say is that, I wonder if we could go into closed session if we're going to discuss this, because it is a personnel, issue.
Yeah, the presentation was made in open, so we may at another council meeting, but it's unusual, very unusual, when we get a letter of resignation not to accept it because that person has chosen, and we respect people's decision to do that. So it's quite unusual to not accept the resignation. That's just the way that it works.
No, we're not.
Okay. Sure, and I'm just saying that from my experiences with management and so forth.
Understood.
If I can just speak, I don't think it's to anyone's benefit, least of all Mike, to have a discussion on what or what not happened in that conversation. What I would suggest, because it was not on this agenda, that we shouldn't be discussing this matter further, but if I can reach out to Mr. Moore if he has made those comments to you to see where he's at. But he did come to that meeting with a resignation in hand, and I'll just publicly say that I wholeheartedly deny the accusations, because that did not occur, and I was not alone in that room at the time. But we recognize the years of service of both our retiring chief and also our deputy chief. And if there is a change of heart, I would recommend that a conversation occur, and should council be made apprised of that and we be approached. But I would suggest that our door is open, we'll have conversations. We reiterated that when we met with all the volunteers, and I would be more than happy to have a chat and have a closed session of council if that would be required because of HR matters, to discuss the matter further. But this was not on the agenda and would be counter to our procedural bylaw to discuss it further at this time.
Okay, Councillor Reeve Miller, if you can stay within something that's...
I would just like to say I would support Darrell's suggestion, and I think perhaps it would be prudent of us to do just that. Go into closed again, and we'll do her one more time.
Okay, but we will...
Not today. I mean,
no, we're not going to do it missing two...
I realize that.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
just looking forward.
Right. Then we'll put that on a future agenda when we're all here. Okay. Thanks for coming, guys.